Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Peter Green. For the last 10 years, I have had the pleasure of being an advisor for the senior high RE class. I have been able to work with many wonderful youth, including the 4 that are involved in this service today. Our minister, Jay Leach, is not in the pulpit this Sunday, as he is spending some well-deserved time off with his family. Each June, our church engages in a bridging ceremony, recognizing each of our high school graduates as he or she bridges from the world of youth to that of young adults. I have participated in this service as both a graduate of the church's RE program and as an advisor. I enjoy observing and sometimes even influencing as each of our youth grow through their formative years, through high school, and prepare to embark on the journey to become a young adult, Unitarian Universalist. The service this morning is sort of a part 2 of that ceremony. For the 4th year, we have invited several of our recent graduates to return to the fold and share the same kind of reflection from the perspective of the passage of a few months. We have asked them to consider how what they have experienced and learned has shaped, how what they have experienced and learned here shaped how they now experience things away from here. We asked them if they now find themselves thinking about things differently in some ways because of things that they recall discussing here. And if any of the values solidified here seem particularly in play in their adult lives. Thank you for joining us as we welcome them back.
We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deepest questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and of welcoming of multiple truths.
Welcome to today's service. We're honored to have guests with us. Our members would like to greet you following the service. So that we might do so, if you are visiting, please raise your hand and keep it up. Members, please take note of guests seated near you. After the service, invite them to join you for coffee and conversation in Freeman Hall. Should it enhance your experience of future services, you can find both a large print order of service and a personal hearing device on the table at the entrance to the sanctuary. If you'd like to learn more about us, please fill out a yellow comment card. You'll find them along with offering envelopes on the clipboards at the end of the row. Please begin passing these now. Members with a life event to share can indicate that on the reverse side of the card. Put your completed yellow cards in the offering basket when they are passed later in the service. Some returning visitors may be interested in hearing how to become a member. If so, talk with our membership coordinator, Kelly Green. Her contact information is on the back of your order. Again, to each of you, welcome. Ours is a congregation of community, and like any community, we have both joys to celebrate and concerns to share with each other. What's that? Not now? Oh.
Yeah, it's my turn. Hello, it's been a while. Okay. Travel. The railroad track is miles away, and the day is loud with voices speaking. Yet there isn't a train goes by all day, but I hear its whistle shrieking. All night there isn't a train goes by, though the night is still for sleep and dreaming. But I see its cinders red on the sky and hear its engine screaming. My heart is warm with the friends I make, and better friends I'll not be knowing. Yet there isn't a train I wouldn't take, no matter where it's going. Edna St. Vincent Milley. Okay, so as a little preface to my reflection, I don't really remember much because I remember certain events like where people sat next to me, and that's basically it. And what I learned. That's just what my memory does. So here I go. Feet tumble against the sidewalk as I run to catch up with old and new friends alike. My thoughts spiraling in a question of how do I act in the world outside of the congregation? And I guess the most honest answer pops up first. I don't know. I guess I don't know how being here has shaped the outside world, because this is an integral part of who I am. I've gone here all my memorable life, and therefore every reaction and action has formed who I am. But in any case, I am a creature of habit due to my upbringing, so I carry a set of values at my core. Perhaps the most important to me is the one where everything is interconnected. This particular lens of the world makes sure that I look at it with awe and respect. It's so large and infinite that it demands a respect for the ground underneath my feet. And without this grounding, I could have forgotten my other value, to be kind. Not nice, but kind. At the beginning of the year, there was a specific individual whose name I will never mention because I'm salty, who took advantage of my friend group because they thought we were nice, read pushovers, and we're not. And while I like making sure people feel good, I don't do it for their acceptance or anything like that. There also comes a point where I'm like, I'm not a professional I can't do everything you need me to do. And so the kind yet toughest thing is to just drop the friendship. Had that individual stayed, they would have not been good for anyone's energy, and honestly, all the parties are better for the cutoff. Sometimes being kind is tough and doesn't feel better, but being kind is not about being nice, but about growth in the long term. You need to care for yourself and also for those around you, and sometimes you can't be nice while doing it. Lastly, on the subject of whether or not I think differently than my peers, well, I've always felt that my thought process is a little bit more of a nebulous affair than anything else. It's hard to pin down how different it exactly is because I can't read others' minds, and I space out a lot in conversation because I think of tangents, and I'm like, ooh, a butterfly. Oh, another one. And so sometimes I completely miss what people are saying because I've started thinking about something 50 years down the line. It happens. But that's just my brain. Now, based on what I've learned here, I know for certain that it has given me the upper hand in my academics because I mostly study art, history, and culture. And I've learned a lot of the things here in RE, while a lot of the students are coming in for the first time and they're like, I don't know any of this. And I'm like, I got you. This is what it means. And they're like, oh. I'm like, yeah. So it gave me the upper hand there. And I've also noticed that I tend to accept things quicker than the average individual, like stubbing my toe or making a new friend, while still remaining stubborn in my effort to be kind. Sometimes just shrugging the initial fear and confusion or anger is all that's needed. You don't always have to have some big reaction to everything. So like, if you do end up stubbing your toe, don't scream and yell, just go, oh, it's happened again, okay. All in all, realizing that in the grand scheme of things, that you are both finite and infinite in our interactions with others at the same time has really been solidified for me, and I guess I can continue my travels with that mindset for a while. So, thank you.
Dreams. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. Langston Hughes. Before I begin my reflection, I want to direct your attention to the painting on the screen. It's a painting by Frida Kahlo called What the Water Gave Me, and it shows her legs and feet in the bathtub with a bunch of different surreal scenes from her life surrounding her, including multiple affairs, her horrible bus accident that left her with lifelong pain, and she just really went through a lot of hard things, and this was, a way of her showing what she went through. Unlike Tenna and Colin, I bridged in 2016. A lot has changed since then, some good, some bad. The brief rundown is that I started at UNC Chapel Hill last fall, then left in the spring and started my transition to female. I returned this past fall and struggled immensely in my classes. I started on new medication and I am headed down the path to being better, but I still have a long way to go. Throughout the past year and a half, Unitarian Universalism has continued to shape the way I live my life. Even though I came out as trans around the same time that I bridged, I did not start my transition until March of this year, about 10 months after realizing my identity. It took me a long time to come to terms with who I am, and it took me even longer to show my true self to the rest of the world. There were a few key factors that finally pushed me to begin my transition: my family, my friends, and my faith community. I told my family and close friends that I identify as female, and for a while, I thought I was comfortable with just that, despite knowing I wanted to begin hormone replacement therapy. Though I may not have realized it at the time, being a part of such a warm and welcoming congregation really helped me feel like I could be myself and allowed me to start taking hormones. While I was in Chapel Hill, I attended campus fellowship and sometimes went to events at the community church in Chapel Hill. The spiritual community I was a part of was so wonderful and made me feel so loved. I met many fantastic people and learned so many wonderful things about myself and the world around me. Despite all of that, I still missed my true spiritual home in this building. I spent my most formative years here, and the effects have not been lost on me. All of the values I hold were molded and supported by the people here. I love this church more than my words can describe. Everything about the UUCC makes me feel like I belong. I have so many wonderful friends here, and I am constantly encouraged to grow. A lot has changed throughout the past year and a half, but I have always felt as if I can come back and still be welcomed with open arms. And I will be here a lot more often in the coming months since I am leaving school and returning home for good. I will continue in my search for truth and meaning, and I am so glad I have this community to help me on the journey. Thank you.
Mike Dooley said that the secret to living the life of your dreams is to start living the life of your dreams today in every little way you possibly can. A short, sweet reading that holds a lot of meaning to me. Every day that I have woken up in college so far, I've considered to be a new day, filled with new experiences, and thus a new way in how I can move forward in beginning my independent life, which is a life that at times has felt like it has taken forever to get here. But for some of us, it's arriving far too quickly. Hi, Mom. However, just because I'm being more independent does not necessarily mean that I have to be by myself. Referencing one of the all-time great Christmas movies, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Hermie the elf asked Rudolph, "Why don't we be independent together?" I have made wonderful friends during my first semester of college who are, in one way or another, finding their way towards independence. But I think a big attribution to my success in my first semester in both finding independence through social interactions, through classroom activities, through being able to prepare myself for life after school, has been what I've taken away from this congregation and what I've learned from my 6 years of RE. By both learning about the tenets and beliefs of all different types of religions, and by paying attention to what is happening in the real world, I have learned to appreciate different perspectives and have grown to have a very conscious mind. It has taught me to pay attention to situations, and by doing so has allowed me to know how to act when something unexpected may occur. I'm currently pursuing becoming a mental health therapist as a profession, so being able to act appropriately and efficiently, excuse me, when something unexpected occurs in someone's life is a little crucial. RE also provided me with great leadership experiences as well, specifically being the co-head dean of our Charlotte Youth Conference my junior and senior year. Using the leadership tools I gained from preparing for the con for weeks and weeks leading up to the actual event, and then performing the event itself, it has allowed me to actively seek out engaging roles while on campus, and has also allowed me to be introduced to some more amazing people. Specifically, while I was taking my communications class this year, my teacher asked me to be put, if it was all right, if she'd put me in groups with people who weren't really engaging a lot in class and who were generally quiet, so that my outgoing, goofy, clumsy energy could spread a little bit and hopefully get them to engage more in class. And I like to think that I was successful because by the time our final rolled around, our group, who at the beginning of the year rarely spoke a word in class, had one of the highest grades on the final exam in the class. So that was very heartwarming to see, and it was a testament to what I had learned through my leadership skills. So in reflection, I owe a lot of my social introductions and success with my teachers to skills I have learned in RE, as well as tips that I have been offered by many of you in the congregation. The tips and small bits of knowledge have accumulated so well and have answered so many of the challenges I came across in my first semester. So I would like to thank everyone here for a positive contribution to my first semester. 1 down, at least 7 to go.
Well, let's try this again. When we did this, up until about last Wednesday, Thursday, both of those were right together. So they did flow when I wrote it. So anyway, ours is a congregation of community. And like any other community, we have both joys to celebrate and concerns to share with each other. Anyone who attended one of our Christmas Eve services last week knows about the joys we celebrate. But it is important that we all appreciate, at a deep personal level, that this time of year can be especially difficult for many people. Getting together with extended family can be wonderful, but often comes with a price: stress, anxiety, travel weariness. Some of us in this room have lost loved ones this year and are struggling with memories of past holidays with them, or maybe family simply isn't available for many reasons. However you entered this place today, know that you are loved. Our Unitarian Universalist theology expects no less of all of us than to love each other with all of our hearts. It never hurts to remind ourselves that our faith is focused not on what we believe, but on how we love. And that means to both accept love, or friendship if that word makes you more comfortable, and when given, and to give love when needed. Let us be there for each other today and into the new year. We call your attention to the announcements in the back of your order of service. You are invited to join the UUCC hiking group for their New Year's Day hike at Crowder's Mountain State Park. Plan on meeting the group at 11:30 a.m. in the church parking lot and dress warmly. It's going to be cold. Next Sunday, January 7th, we will resume our 9:15 and 11:15 services. After each service, we will offer our monthly Getting to Know Us Q&A sessions with a member of the congregation. The church offices will be closed tomorrow in observance of the New Year's holiday. And more information is available for these and additional events in your order of service and on the Currents webpage, accessed through the UUCC website. We hold in our hearts and prayers Jane and Bob Gorman as Jane recuperates from surgery, Barbara and Michael Searing as Barbara continues her rehab following spinal surgery, and Vivian Brenner as she grieves the loss of her sister's husband, Eric. Everyone is invited to light a candle during the offering to mark a celebration, concern, or remembrance. Blessed be.
I now invite you into a time of meditation and aspiration. You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, how you can still come out of it. May it be so.
Sorry, I need my little stool. I'm short. So, Miss Kathleen told me that I was not allowed to explicitly ask for money, but John and Pete said I could. And so, please, we need donations in order to keep this going, to keep the RE program thriving, and every other thing that we do. So please, give us your money. That would be very nice. Thank you.
Please rise, embody your spirit, and join us in an affirmation of our faith. Hold on to what is good, even if it is a handful of earth. Hold on to what you believe, even if it is a tree which stands by itself. Hold on to what you must do, even if it is a long way from here. Hold on to my hand, even when I have gone away from you.
Before I close, I just want to say that I really like working with the youth. When we were hanging out backstage before the service, we did a bit of small talk, but then we talked about how we each struggle with some of the principles. And it was really nice to be able to talk about that with some people. So youth are great. The questions we posed to our young adult speakers this morning are worth consideration by all of you here this morning. As my closing words, I ask all of you to consider, how does what you experience here in worship services like this one, or in classes, discussions, or even social gatherings, shape how you experience things away from here? Do you find yourself thinking differently in some ways because of discussions you've shared here? And have you found any of the values solidified here, particularly in play in your own life? Blessed be and happy 2018. Please be seated for the postlude.